The instability that this young man showed in his eyes was the faithful reflection of a horrible crime that landed him in jail.
Did you kill your mother?
Yeah.
You killed your mother.
And the worst part of all had been the macabre way in which he carried out everything.
You beat her to death with what?
Sledgehammer.
Zachary Davis was just 15 years old when he brutally ended his mother's life. All throughout his childhood, he'd suffered a series of mental problems. The young man would become infamous in 2012 after his arrest for the horrible crime he committed. The reason behind the crime? That was quite difficult to explain.
She wasn't taking care of my family.
Meaning you and your brother?
Yeah.
Is that who you mean?
Despite the problems that Zachary exhibited, no one expected him to reach a point of so much violence. However, the death of his father from amyotrophic lateral sclerosis would trigger a depression that completely changed everything.
It's a bit hard to sleep when your father talks to you all night, no matter how many times you tell him to shut up.
Chris's voice was present in his head all the time, and his mental instability was becoming more severe. But the heinousness of the crime was what ultimately shocked the world.
And the method you chose was what?
Beating her to death.
And you beat her to death with what?
Sledgehammer.
Zachary didn't show any mercy at all for his mother, and he committed a brutal murder that left everyone with their mouths open. How could someone subject their own mother to such cruelty? The question marked the investigation, but it also showed who he really was.
Was this a 3-pound sledgehammer, 5-pound sledgehammer?
I don't know.
Heavy,
Yeah.
way bigger than a hammer, right?
The young man's personality and story were very unstable. Everyone was thinking about the crime that he'd committed, because at just 15 years old, he had murdered his mother and spent every day living with a voice inside his head.
Quizás si este chico siente que no estaba cuidando a su familia, dentro de eso encuentra la forma de como culpabilizar a la mamá por la muerte del papá, ¿cachai? Como no, ella no cuidó a mi familia y de alguna u otra forma como le da una cierta responsabilidad a la mamá y de esa forma, claro, él en su cabeza como obvio que tengo que matar a mi mamá, si ella no es capaz de cuidar a mi familia, ¿para qué va a seguir existiendo?
Can you tell the judge? Do you recognize that voice?
He seemed incapable of feeling remorse. That smile that came on his face when remembering the moment of his mother's death did nothing more than surprise and confirm his coldness. Of course, when he was asked about this in front of the cameras, his words wouldn't match the expression on his face.
Are you sorry that your mother's dead?
Yes.
Why?
I feel bad for doing it.
But at the time you laughed, why feel bad now?
I think it was a stupid thing to do.
Shortly after the conviction, it was learned that while Zachary had been in therapy, he told his psychiatrist that his father had told him to kill his mother. At the time, they took it as something normal for a schizophrenic person, but the events would prove otherwise. A young man who murdered his mother in the most brutal way ended up in jail, condemned to spend a life locked up due to his sins. Zachary will spend at least 51 years behind bars, accompanied by the voices that live in his head.